disillusioned. A lot of Nigerians are helpless at this point in time. A lot of Nigerians are hopeless. It is not because they are not striving for survival. It is not because, like we normally use the word hustle in Nigeria. Nigerians are very hardworking people. But the problem we've had with Nigeria, just like, Chinua Achebe, once, postulated in his book. And I kind of asked Nigerians to go back and read that particular book titled The Problem with Nigeria. That book was written in the 60s. And if you look at the malaces that we are suffering today as a people, they were all highlighted in that particular book. Corruption, nepotism, ethnicity, etc., as the case may be. And those are still the ills that we face today in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a sorry state yet, but we need to get Nigeria right on track. And how do we do that? It's the fact that we have to undergo what I regard as ethical revolution. Many of the leaders we have today in power were products or are products of the corrupt society and family backgrounds that pervaded the landscape in Nigeria. Is it your governors? Is it the presidents? Is it the chairman of local government areas? They are family members. Is that the judges? Talk about them. You find out that they were brought up through a family, the smallest unit in the society. And most of them are from very fraudulent background. And because we do not profile them very well, we don't vote for the right people, we might end up, and we end up most times, voting in or selecting people who are not even worth being there in the first instance. The Buccaneers, I refer to them, they are Philistine carpetbaggers, opportunists, who just wait around the corner to capture power and rule the state. And they have plundered our common till to this point. And I know that one day, that until and unless we stand up for our rights, that the country called Nigeria might not be a place where we want to be on. The Buccaneers who you're talking about are those who are governing, who are ruling us. They are not even governing, they are ruling. They are ruling us like the traditional rulers. Some of them, once they get in there, they feel that it is a stool that they have to inherit, or they inherited from their father, and that their children, will be the ones that will continue from where they stopped. And that has been the problem. The man with merit, the man that works, that goes out and do the right thing, is being mocked in the society today in Nigeria. The reward system is lost. For those who are in power today are those who tread on mendacity. For those who come up to tell lies because they want to get there and plunder the state further. And this has been the problem we are having in this country. Nigeria is a great country. Look at people. Have you ever imagined that you find that a Nigerian man leaves the shores of Nigeria today? In the next 2 weeks, he's excelling wherever he has gone to. That tells you that we have a strong ability and mentality to survive and to be great. But when you call them to say, the country you left, come back, they'll tell, I will never come back to Nigeria until things are put together. Most of the nations we have in the world, it was not spirits that built those societies for them. Citizens were the ones that came and built societies for them. And for us to build a better nation called Nigeria, our constitution, first of all, has to be rejigged. I will not say that we take it out, that there are no good parts in the constitution, but we need to work on our constitution. First of all, since we are practicing democracy, then the constitution must be the bulwark and the hallmark on which democracy, rests. There are some landmines in that constitution For instance, Section 10. Section 10 talks about secularity of Nigeria. You find out that Nigeria is no longer a secular state. Nigeria is now a religious state. Some portions or sections of Nigeria practice Islam, what you call a Sharia, in a country where Section 10 says no state religion should be allowed. How come some states do have what they call Grand Cadis and Sharia Courts? That me, if I travel to Kano, for instance, now, I have two laws I have to obey. That is not very good for us as a people. And I believe that one day, if we work it right, we will get a better nation for ourselves. You see, Edo State is in turmoil politically. The people, I don't really understand, because you find out that the two actors, Igodalo and Okpebolo and their supporters, they had daggers drawn. It is not far-fetched why the tribunal has moved from Benin City to Abuja. If you've been on social media for some time, you find out that there have been threats to life. There have been threats of violence. The other day, some people invaded the tribunal venue. Some parties with talks, wanting to disrupt proceedings of that particular tribunal. Why should that go on? If not because of the fact that their principals are those who want powers by all means possible. They don't care whether lives are lost or blood is spilled. All they're after is to capture power. And that has been what has been playing out in Edo State. And it's unfortunate that we say we are practicing democracy. And somebody will now go to Abuja now and come back and say he has won. And he now begins to say he's the governor of that particular state. Whereas you have created tension, in that particular state. You have incited people to kill, people to loot because of power. It is only President Jonathan, and that's why I still respect him till tomorrow, that said that my ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And I think politicians should imbibe such philosophy for good living and for democracy to thrive in Nigeria. We need to fight and get our country back. You see, our constitution, yes, I agree that we have the constitution is not in order as we wanted it to be, but there are, decent, sections of the constitution that we can imbibe, for a true democratic state. For instance, Section 14 sub 2 talks about security and welfare. Now, what nepotism is happening in government, the constitution is against it. Now, if you go to Section 14 sub 3 of the 1999 constitution, it says that as a sitting president or able governor or local government chairman, you have the right to appoint those you want to be your ministers, politically speaking. But insofar as you have that prerogative, that you must have to look at it and spread those appointments. So you don't just go there and say, because this man is my brother, you bring him into power and cabinet. You don't just say, because this man is a party member, then you bring him into government, even if he does not qualify to be there. Now, if you even go down, to Section 171 of 5, it's saying that the president must not and should not appoint, people who are loyal. That appointment should not be based on loyalty. What we have seen so far is that any government in power, once you are loyal to the president or the governor, he goes for you and makes you a minister or a commissioner. And that is very wrong. So it negates the principles of good governance in our constitution. And it's very, very wrong. A nation that dwells on nepotism, will never get it right. And Nigeria, I believe that if we shun nepotism in all our dealings and appointments, Nigeria will be a great country. Nepotism versus meritocracy. Meritocracy should win the day, not, looking at those people who are your hangers-on and you begin to appoint them as your ministers or commissioners. It's an aberration. It's an aberration. We should not encourage it at all.
Excuse me, what is your job?
Huh?
I mean, like, you're dressed